Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I did a 43-minute therapy session, uploaded 70% of it, and did it again, deleted it, so you'll never hear it. It was just me telling y'all how I was feeling. Shoot, it was 40 minutes of talk, so who knows, a bunch of stuff, but it was just me further reinforces how frustrated I am and all the feelings that I was having. It was a really good therapy session too. I listened to it and everything. That's why I thought it would upload, but it was only 70% uploaded an hour and 20 minutes later, so I think I'm getting over here with an entirely different mindset. Of course, because I got that therapy session out, I do have all of that off my chest. I'm just sorry it ain't here forevermore. But yeah, man, I've been thinking about Adam 22. Man. Adam 22 has been on my mind. I've been doing art, sitting for the last hour or so doing art. And what came to mind is, and I kind of had this idea in my head yesterday too, but there needs to be some flowers handed to this man about something specific. And the thing that I'm starting to realize and I'm starting to really absorb, for all of the stuff that we've talked about in regards to Adam 22 and his platform and the different things that it could go wrong, probably already has gone wrong, where I think he's really helped the culture is humanizing gang members. Humanizing gang members. I grew up in Los Angeles, of course, as you guys know, never left here really. And I've known people from different hoods who are great people, not with the slash next to their name and their hood, just human beings that are absolutely awesome. Help develop some of the things that ultimately I'm most proud of today. I've picked up from people who happen to be active. They never tried to push me into being from their hood. They always respected I was square. I didn't know nothing about nothing until they told me, that kind of thing. I'm square for sure. So when it really comes down to it, what I was able to appreciate was just the humanity. And I'm seeing Adam 22 able to display individuals who've long been dehumanized. He's allowing us to see their personalities. They're smiling, laughing, joking with one another, being human beings. And what I'm seeing, which is key to this, is that is starting to spread out in other aspects of the country, where more people who are active in these neighborhoods are finding outlets on the internet that is lighthearted and humanizes them and emotionally connects the people to individuals that they've otherwise been told to fear without any thought otherwise. And while those fears should be in place for the certain things that are going on, because they have politics that could, it can get obviously very, very, very deadly. But the reality is, I think part of why their politics is so structured, so messed up, is because they've been hidden from the rest of the world, dehumanized in the process of it. So it's like, once you start seeing, and this trickles down for real, in my mind, maybe it don't in real life, but this is how I see it. The dehumanization of human beings often puts you in a position to characterize them a certain way, and then from there, that characterization reflects on them, and they start to believe themselves to be what it is that you are also telling them that they are. Sort of like I was going through a couple of days ago with my friend who had read me my rights about myself. One of the things I was talking about in that 40-minute video that I didn't upload fully was that I felt like I was taking on them characteristics or believing certain things that she said about me, and then further reinforcing not connecting to God because I believed that I wasn't that great of a person and was having frustrations about the realization that there could be that was the case. So it was like, instead of doing things that helped me realize, the person she's remembering was somebody who didn't have some of the things done that I now have done, and working in the effort of being a better person. So I can't take steps backwards, reacting to how she viewed me into something that she's recalling that took place 11 years ago or 10 years ago. So it's like, I think the same goes on with people who might be in certain situations that people can't relate to. In these type of environments, it's like, what we've always been told is that the gangs are the worst and that the gangs need to be destroyed. And it's no humanization to these people being human beings until you see folks like Snoop Dogg, and then it's like, oh, okay, they're human. And you see, and that's what it was. But it's like, I think it's taken it to a different level when you see people who are not famous, who are not, and I'm gonna say artistically talented per se, who just have maybe some charisma, or the ability to keep a conversation going, or the ability to just share what it is that they know in a way that keeps people's attention. They have these individuals in these various places that aren't very much humanized. You have these people who need these opportunities, so where if you give them these opportunities, they'll spend their time doing that. And that's what we're seeing. I think Adam 22 dreamt up the ability to humanize these individuals, however, by hook or crook. And as a result, they're able to occupy their time, these individuals, getting money, doing stuff that doesn't have anything to do with some of the activities, and they can still fund what it is they need to fund without the activities. And so it's like, there's still going to be parts of that get murked by just the nature of what they're doing, but it is changing the culture a little bit. Now I'm seeing King Yella and his people from Chicago and the folks on his side, his team, they're starting to do skits. They're starting to, behave like we see Community and Fig Community kind of, you know what I mean? They're humanizing themselves so that we can be connected to them, so that they can have a voice to the people, and they don't have to be legislated against so harshly without any support whatsoever. And that is what it's about for me. That's what it's about for me. A lot of these guys be getting sentences that go on forever for stuff without context as to what it is they're involved in. And then when you start understanding the arenas they're involved in, you start saying to yourself, you probably couldn't even survive those arenas. A lot of people didn't survive those arenas. And a lot of things within the context of those arenas, we like to police, but cannot relate in any way to the horrors that they face or the conditioning of their mind from being in those horrors for long embedded periods of time with agreeables lined up next to them in all different shapes and sizes throughout the course of the process. So what I'm telling you is, though it is not as simple as I'm making it sound, what I think is that you can give human beings an ability to dream of being better by just pulling them away from what it is that otherwise they would be doing and giving them opportunities to shine, man, to shine. And that is where I think Adam 22 legitimately deserves a lot of support from within a community that he really does exploit. He exploits it, but to the betterment of the people he's exploiting. I looked at another segment of S Bone's interview with Adam 22. It's exactly what I took from the situation. Adam 22 was able to, with a $4 million follower platform, that's what I'm trying to say, was able to give this individual an opportunity to a bigger audience, because of course he already on YouTube, but to a bigger audience, humanize himself before his life ultimately ended, to where people can legitimately ask the question after watching him. 4 million people can legitimately ask the question after watching him, without understanding what caused his passing. Does not this human being deserve to be mourned? Does not this human being deserve to be seen as something other than his colors and his skin? And the answer is yes, absolutely, because he has now been seen in a light that allows people to come into his world, hear his lingo, hear how he talked, see how things was going in his mind, and then hear the hope that he had for a betterment of his people and a betterment of his image. And that is the humanization. That is the humanization of people. It allows you to get into their hearts to see that there's something there that otherwise we're told is not there by those who want to lock them up for the rest of their lives and put them in the chair and all of that. And I'm telling you, it's not as simple as what it is that we think a lot of the times. And if we could just help people who are in spaces that need help, wherever they may be, you can find that those people can find the confidence to become the help that others need. And we don't value that stuff as much as we should. But when I look at what Adam 22 is doing, I think this can balloon into something that would be very beneficial for people who are active out there in the streets, man. Finding ways to properly, and we're bumping our head right now in the world, but properly expose yourself to the internet without incriminating yourself. That's what this generation is falling on the sword on, so that tomorrow's generation could be a lot wiser about that. But that's just what it is. People still getting caught up on the internet because they don't understand what they can and cannot say. But I do think that for all of the stuff that there is to be said about Adam 22, and we said a lot about all that there is to say, at the end of the day, now that we're starting to see what it is that I told you I thought I saw about a year and a half ago, which was the guys that he was working with, the people that were on the main show with him, were taking their own following that they had gathered being on his platform, and they're doing other things, and some of them are being successful. As I said, Fig community. So it's like, that's what I saw a year ago, that they were branching out, that they were going to try to have like a Marvel universe for Adam 22. And since his No Jumper was going to be like the hub for everything real, really going on and in regards to just all of it in one space, but then it was going to be his affiliates everywhere. And so that's kind of how it's going, man. You can see how they're making that be the case. And he's refreshing it with new talent, just like I told y'all he was doing. That whole situation about turning on AD and all that, that was nothing. That was not really real. It was just simply time for the guys who had established themselves to move on to their own platforms. They were still going to be connected to him. And the beef was meant to keep the hype real, but there was never no beef. It was always like this. It was always what it's supposed to be. It's a Marvel Universe type of thing, and it's going to grow. And so if it doesn't implode before doing so, and what I'm saying is there should be people who are trying to assure that it doesn't, based on the good that I'm seeing that it's starting to do. It's changing the culture in regards to who is out there in the streets as it pertains to how human they should be in the eyes of voters. Voters. That's what it's about. People who vote against or for legislation that ultimately puts them away forever, ultimately comes down harsher on them based on what it is that they are doing outside in the arenas that ultimately should be put an end to. A lot of that stuff don't have to be done no more. A lot of those wars are long past, overdue. You can't kill enough people to get the get back you're looking for. It don't work. You got to find another way to live. You got to find another way to survive. And I think Adam 22 has inspired a different vibe by way of what he's doing that I think is spreading across the country like wildfire. And just like the murder culture is spreading amongst the streets, so is the desire to come together and do a damn podcast with your homies. And I'm telling you, I'm seeing it everywhere, and it's good content. And I know for a fact it's giving guys opportunities that don't lead to them going to jail, but can lead to them having enough money to pass to their children. And that's ultimately all they're really trying to do, is get out of the toilet and into the Maldives. People click up to the betterment of their understanding with people they agree with, and they go out and they try to make a way for themselves together, because that's the only way you can survive, particularly in LA. And I know that first damn hand. You see, I'm struggling without that. So what I'm telling you is people are doing the best they can, and somebody has entered an opportunity into the equation that can literally save a lot of lives if done correctly. And I think Adam 22 needs to be given some flowers, because I see him being the catalyst for where that is being done. He is the hub for which all of that is possible. And you can tell that it's not the worst thing in the world when you continue to see real people go toward him. They see the same thing in this that I see from afar. It's like, yo, he's giving you opportunities, and he's not trying to keep you tied to him to where you can't do for yourself later on. It's like, yo, that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing, man. So that's what I wanted to say. I've had conversations about Adam 22 in the opposite direction. Certain things I was trying to figure out while assessing all of this, but now that we're in the place that we're in, I see him as a positive to the community. I see him as a positive. Now, maybe some of those who attach to him may not necessarily be. I don't know how that works. The politics behind putting the business of No Jumper together could be murky, however anything goes. But as far as what it seems like his vision is and what is transpiring from within that vision, it seems a lot more good can come from it than bad at this point. A whole lot more good. And I just see a humanity amongst these folks, man. It was a picture, not picture, but footage. I was clicking on Figmunity, and you saw, AD pushing Smack around in a wheelchair. Now, if you know of AD and Smack, they together on Figmunity and community and that No Jumper hub. But if you know of the streets, they may not necessarily get along outside based on their affiliations. Far be it for me to know truth, but that's kind of how it goes sometimes with orange and blue, depending on what's going on. So it's like, that humanizes those guys. For the layman's like myself who don't know what the hell's going on, and for people who otherwise are trying to figure out if they want to keep this culture going. People want to figure out if they can not have to be enemies no more. So many conversations about guys who are trying to come together from different places, different hoods or what have you, trying to come together all over the country right now. You're seeing it, as I mentioned already, King Yella. Now some of those guys in Chicago are starting to dream up opportunities of having their own little 92 type of truce. And granted, they got an entirely different way of doing things. It ain't a whole lot of structure as it seems, but it seems like some of the people who have been in place are starting to rise to a point where they may have some influence to try to provide some structure. within what it is that they're doing out there, so they can have some healing out there in Chicago, like we've had in LA over time. So that's what the dream is about, if you ask me. As somebody who's not from out there but has a lot of roots to people who have lived in these worlds. I want to see people have an opportunity at another option. That's what it's really about, because we know that they don't, have a whole lot of friends in situations where it's meant for people to be humanized in order to be treated fairly. They don't have friends in those areas. But this is exactly how black people are able to get the favor of others. It's by white folks giving us unfathomable, meaning you're not confining us, opportunities to get our own, inspire others, and ultimately humanize all of us. And that is a need. It's a need. So that's what I see there. Adam 22 is doing something that I think has really helped the black community. And I didn't always see it that way. In fact, I just recently started seeing it that way. So that's what I wanted to say, man. Just get a guy some positive energy toward him, and ask that he be careful, man. With all that's being said, it is still gangbanging, dude. It's still gangbanging, and so this is the path to help people do different things with what it is that they represent. But we're not there yet, not even close. And so that's what the reality is. It's still a good chance that he could get roped up into something that is very, very horrible for him and his brand. But I think where we're at, he's going to find that he has more support from people like myself who will see the bigger picture and want him to continue on the path that it looks like he's on. So that's what I wanted to say, man. That's what I got. Shout out to everybody at No Jumper and all the surrounding communities. Civilian BDF 44 signing out. Appreciate everybody.